Perfect. 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 Perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. It's time.
Hey, yo, what up? How's everybody doing? Happy Monday to you all. We are now live here on the Around the Point Network YouTube channel. We're also live over on Twitch, and we're also live over on Kick. What's going on, everyone? How you doing? How was your weekend? How was your Halloween? What up? I can't hear you, but I hope you had a good one. It is Monday, November the 3rd, 2025. And this is something that I like to call Steve's Kitchen. Here, you know what I'm going to do real quick while I'm here? Yeah, it's Steve's Kitchen. But let me just change this to let me get it to a good color here. There you go. Purple. Fuck it. It'll just do. But we're live. What's going on, everyone? I hope you all, again, had a wonderful weekend. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. It was officially, hope you enjoyed the extra hour of sleep. I know I did. I know I enjoyed it. That's the one thing. Like when this whole thing with daylight savings, like, look, I love the idea that, hey, I get an extra hour of sleep, even though you really don't tell the difference of it once you're in like day number 7 or day number 2 or day number 3. You don't feel the difference. Like, all right, cool. Your day continues, basically. The one thing that I do kind of hate is that once it's 5 o'clock, it looks like it's 10 p.m. That's the one thing that I kind of hate, to be honest with you guys. At the moment it turns into 5 o'clock, it's already looking like it's 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? So it makes you not want to do anything else. You know what I mean? It makes you want to end your day quicker, right? But if it was up to me, look, there will be none of this daylight saving bullshit. I do miss, 5 o'clock and it's still daylight. 7 p.m., it's still daylight. The sun is about to come down, but it's still daylight. That's what I do miss. Okay. And I hope you all had a wonderful Halloween. For those of you that celebrate, I hope you guys took your kids out to do trick-or-treating and they got all the good candy. I hope you don't have that neighbor that doesn't celebrate, that doesn't really, do anything to give a shit per se. I hope they did contribute and gave your kids and all that good candy and stuff. And hopefully it was a good one. Again, I've seen a lot of parents like do their costume parties and go to these Halloween parties. Like, to me, I've said this before and I'll say this again. Halloween is more for the kids. It really, really is. So if you're one of these parents out there, you try to outdo your kids, maybe it's time to really look in the mirror, right? But being that it's also November, already 3 days in, you are going to hear holiday sales. I've already heard it on the radio, during breaks and stuff. Oh, this holiday season, get this for save this and all that stuff. Like, bro, we're just 3 days into November. Can you give us time to breathe? Let us, get to the holiday stuff soon. But look, as someone who used to work in retail, I can tell you, as someone who worked in retail for almost 12 years, the holiday season is a pain in the ass, especially for those of you who work at the mall, who work at, let's say, a Best Buy, a Walmart, um, any store. But more importantly, for those of you, just like myself at one time or another, worked at the supermarket. Yes, it's going to be a bitch because guess what? The people who work at the supermarkets deal with the bullshit first because of Thanksgiving. So I can imagine, I already know in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be hell. It's going to feel like it never fucking ends. And I'm here for you. That's right, you. Worker at supermarket, if you are a cashier, if you work in organizing the shelves, if you work in receiving, if you work in produce, seafood, butcher, wherever it may be, hell, you can just be the fucking janitor. I am with you during this time of the year. I am with you. I hope you make all the money in the world. Don't get me wrong, make all the money, but I hope that you will be fine. Okay? Got that out of the way. How about those Dodgers, huh? How about the Dodgers? Hey, the Blue Jays lost, huh? The Blue Jays lose, right? I was watching the game with the boys the other day, watching game 7. It's a lot of stuff that went down on Saturday, right? You had Saturday night's main event. You had Collision. Yeah, I'll throw Collision in there because at the end of the day, I want to give it the respect, all right? I don't want to upset anyone out there, right? Because imagine if I just said Saturday you had Saturday night's main event in the World Series. There'll been that one jabroni.
Hey, you forgot Collision. What the fuck is wrong with you? Me.
Just hey, I remember. There was also Collision, right? But then you also had game number 7 of the World Series, the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. And we were watching it. And let me just say, look, I am not a baseball enthusiast. You guys should know this by now. My sport is soccer. Okay. So watching this game, it kind of gave you like, is it the Champions League? No, it's not that. Right. But it's, a very big fucking deal, right? I guess in American sports, the World Series, they're must see. And you want them to be entertaining. You want them to be memorable, right? Bro, this should went to game 7, right? It went to game 7, and then there was like extra innings. So I think that is like, that's what you want, I feel like, out of your game 7. That the drama, the storytelling, right? It's like wrestling almost. Like, holy shit, you want to see the best play the best. And it just so happened that it looked like the Toronto Blue Jays were going to go and win it all. And the Dodgers pull it off at the end. And they are now a 2-time World Series champions. And who knows? Could they go 3 for 3? Could they three-peat it? In the modern era, has that happened? To my baseball listeners out there, like, has that happened in the modern era of baseball? Has a team won 3 back to back to back, three in a row? Let me know. Also, it kind of reminded me a lot of the World Cup finals of Qatar 2022. You had France and Argentina. It went to overtime. It was the penalty shootout, right? You also remember, you can't forget, like, before the penalty shootout or overtime, I think it was, Mbappe scores 2 goals in 90 seconds. First off a penalty kick, and then he scores another one just to get France to that spot. And it was just crazy. But anyway, that's what happened on Saturday. I start moving in a couple of days. So Don't be surprised if there's nothing happening on this channel because of the whole move, and I'm trying to get shit set up and everything at the new house. So now you know. I keep bringing that up, but I just feel like I have to at this point. But also over the weekend, there was wrestling. There was Saturday night's main event. There was WWE's Saturday night's main event that went down this past Saturday. And let me just say, you know, watching the show because again, it was either on Peacock because normally it used to be on NBC, but for whatever reason they decided to put this show, well, because of some changes, right? Let's let's take it back a bit here. Because of some changes, because obviously WWE programming, well, the PLEs are no longer on Peacock, they're on ESPN. They needed to make some adjustments. So now, like, Saturday night's main event is no longer on NBC Channel 4 and Peacock. Now it's on Peacock, right? It's there now, right? So with this, there are some changes to the show, and I've noticed it. I was kind of like about it at first, but then a day or two went by. I'm like, you know what? It makes sense why they, are going this direction, right? Some of these changes that I saw. So if you noticed, the first thing is they didn't have that entrance spot for Saturday night's main event. They had a Titantron, right? They had the setup. It makes sense because the night before is SmackDown, so you're not going to really change that much. You're not doing that. So I was fine. Also, the referees, if you notice, like, if you've watched these last couple of Saturday night's main event, the referees had on the bow tie and the button-up shirt as the jersey, as the referee attire. And here these guys, here are the referees in their polo shirt with the modern WWE logo. I'm like, what is this? What happened to the authenticity of what Saturday night's main event was, But then again, it hit me again. Like, you know what? They're not on NBC. They're no longer on NBC on Channel 4. They're on Peacock. So I guess for them, it's like, fuck this. If we're gonna now be, if this gonna be now on a streaming platform, fuck all the authenticity and all these little callbacks. Fuck all that shit. There was also no Jesse the Body Ventura. Not surprised. Joe Tessitore wasn't there either because of college football. I'm looking at the cage match result right now. And let me just say, bro, cage match. Oh, man, you guys have not been very friendly to this show. You guys have not been very friendly to this show, I must say. Again, the show without the dark match, this was a 4-match show. There was a dark match. It was Bayley and Raquel Rodriguez. But for the most part, this was a show that I must say I didn't hate. I went into the show. Look, we all know Saturday night's main event is pretty much a glorified house show on TV, right? That's what it is. There's a lot of time. The timing, as far as time limit goes, is very limited, right? You got to get your shit on point. If you recall what happened during the Goldberg retirement and they cut off during a speech and what have you. One thing I noticed, one thing that I liked is if you watched on Peacock, there was none of this commercial breaks in between the matches. There was none of that. So that was different. That was cool to see. So you already know when Cena faces the winner of the Last Time Is Now tournament, they're going to get enough time to be viewed, no interruption. That's cool, right? But that's a plus. But then, we got the opening match. We had Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. I thought the match for the most part was okay. I knew going in, Drew. Look, I would have loved to have seen Drew win, right? Going into this. But then you watch on SmackDown, they did some adjustments, right, to this match. So on Friday, this past Friday on SmackDown, during the contract signing, and you guys know how I feel about contract signings. I hate them. So they had Cody and Drew have an agreement where if Cody were to get himself counted out or disqualified, he would lose the WWE title and it go to Drew McIntyre. So when I heard that, I'm like, they're gonna give it to Cody, right? The match went about almost 19 minutes. And it's a match where Drew McIntyre went out of his way trying to get Cody to get counted out, trying to get Cody to get disqualified, try to find ways to hit the referee by accident. The referee does take a bump, obviously, right? And it's just one of those things where it's like you kind of know, all right, it's only a matter of time, right? And if you notice here too, there's a moment where the WWE title is brought in, and Cody takes advantage and DDTs Drew onto the WWE undisputed title, right? He literally like face first into the fucking title, right? And I said this on Twitter, if there was VAR, right? VAR, which I'm sure if you guys watch soccer, you know what it is it's a video, and and it's basically where the referee goes and watches the footage of the foul, see if he might have given the right call or wrong call for said foul, right? It's like, challenging the play almost, right? So had there been VAR in pro wrestling, Drew McIntyre right now would be WWE champion. But that didn't happen. Cody Rhodes, once again, is still the WWE champion. Which, at this point, cool, but I would have not mind seeing Drew win. But when you hear the stipulation, you kind of knew that was not going to happen. For Drew now, like, he's been getting loss after loss after loss when it comes to the title. It's like, at this point, bro, I don't think it's ever going to happen. Like, he had his moment, right? 5 years ago and change. Unfortunately, it happened at a time when the world was not around, where people were not going to these shows because of the pandemic. So he had his moment in a empty warehouse, sadly, right? But he made the most of it. Like, Drew's going to be fine. Drew will be fine. I just don't see him being someone who I'm putting the belt on right now. I just don't see it happening, right? From there, you had Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. I've said this before about Jade Cargill. Less is good. Less is good. And boy, howdy, they were not fucking around on this one. Jade Cargill dominated, dog walked Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton, who was like selling an injury. Like, if you watched like the entrances, you see her like limping. She was limping there for a bit. So it kind of made you think, oh, okay, maybe she is legit hurt here, right? She's limping, and so she's kind of like giving that away. So they already had like their way out, right? If Tiffany were to once she loses the belt, right? So they had their way out of it already, right? But we get to the spot, obviously, where just Tiffany just being dominated by Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill is now the new WWE women's she's now the women's champion. She is now the WWE women's champion. I try to think, again, good for her. It made sense at this point in juncture. You basically go on this whole thing where, she's had all these matches and she hasn't won it. It's like, it's now or never. And she turned heel, right? So that also helped too. The fact that she turned heel. And I've said this too with Jade Cargill. Less is good. Less, a lot of times, is good, in my humble opinion. I don't need her going out there and giving me 25 minutes of just of a brawl or work rate. I do not need that. I do not need that at all. Okay. From my women's wrestling, I do not need that. And I thought Jade here did good. She's the new champion. Um, I think now what this leads to is returning Bianca Belair. You know, and for Tiffany Stratton, like, look, she'll be fine. It just unfortunate in a week she lost her title, and then she lost her Ludwig. Yeah, Ludwig Kaiser or El Grande Americano, whoever the fuck you want to call him, right? Looks like he's no longer dating Tiffany Stratton. Looks like he's not dating Tiffany Stratton no more. Now he is dating I guess the woman from WWE Espanol. That that's basically who it looks like that she's dating. Like, if you guys seen these videos that's been surfacing online, it's El Grande Americano at these AAA shows, and he's holding hands with another woman, right? People are speculating on who it is and stuff like that, and it turns out it is uh she's basically she's with WWE Espanol, right? That's who she's with. Um, I'm trying to find out her name here. Andrea Bazarte, that's her name. Andrea Bazarte. That is who she is. She's basically with WWE Espanol. But I must say, hey man, what can I say, brother? Folks, Ludwig Kaiser, El Grande Americano, whatever you want to say, left Tiffany Stratton to spice things up a bit, I must say. I guess he's down with the Move Caliente, and I don't blame him. I do not blame him at all. Just to show you guys a picture here of what Ludwig is working with now, because I must say, good for him. In all seriousness, good for them too. But this is who she's working. This is what she's working with now. Good for Ludwig Kaiser. Good for him. Can't hate on that. Sometimes you gotta switch it up. That's all you can do. But yeah, man, tough week for Tiffany Stratton, but she'll be back. She'll bounce back for sure. From there, we had Dominic Mysterio versus Penta and Rusev. The match was fine for the most part. You kind of wondered in this, how would Dominic Mysterio find a way to remain champion? And he did. He found another way. Come on. With the discussions that Cena is going to be his opponent at Survivor Series, you want to give Dominic that momentum, right? So for the most part, you want to give him momentum. Again, he's going to wrestle potentially John Cena at Survivor Series in his hometown. Think about this for a second. If you're Dominic Mysterio, right? I remember 5 years ago when he showed up on the main roster. He debuted against Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. Even I said back, if you guys remember me back in the day, I said this he's not ready. He's not ready for this. Send him to NXT. And they insisted on keeping him on the main roster, right? Teaming with his dad, right? And I've always said, send this kid to NXT. And along the way, he's picked it up. One of the most entertaining acts on the show, right? Got over as all hell, joined the Judgment Day, getting all that away. But also, he's over with the crowd, right? Not only that, but when he goes to Mexico, him and Ludwig, bruh, those two are rock stars, bro. Those two are rock stars in Mexico, right? So to think how far Dominic Mysterio has come, right, to now potentially facing John Cena in his retirement tour, in his home and in your hometown. Man, what a ride! What a journey! What a journey, man! Holy shit! But yeah, man, Penta Rusev did not win. Dominic Mysterio is still the champion. Chief writes here, Jay becoming champion doesn't solve the problem. Tiff still the only baby face still on SmackDown. That is true. But like I said earlier, I do hope this leads to a returning Bianca Belair. Right? I do hope this leads to a returning Bianca Belair and they start that program. So let's see where they go with that. Um, Dom definitely learned on the fly. It was a pleasure watching the growth. Yeah, as time that I think about it, I kind of agree. It's amazing to see what happens when you sink or swim. You sink or swim, right? Because it easily could have failed. Like honestly, he could have turned heel. He turned heel on it, right? He turned on his dad, right? And it could have bombed. Could have completely bombed, right? And none of this would be happening. We wouldn't even be bringing him up in discussions. But he found a way to get over. He figured it out, right? And sometimes they want to see, if you can sink or swim. I wish someone would say the same thing to Hook in AEW, but that's a discussion for another day. So Flair was telling the truth. He was DMing her trying to get away from Tiffany. So Flair was telling the truth. He was DMing. Who was he DMing? Her? I don't get that. Who was he DMing? Ludwig? Maybe. I don't know. This is the first I'm hearing about this, man. The first time I'm hearing about this. But then we got the main event. We had CM Punk versus Jey Uso. The match no one asked for, no one wanted. Man, this match was not it for me. It just looked so sloppy. Jey looked lost. Jey Uso looked lost. Maybe he was yeeting the night before. I don't know. Like they were in Utah. What's there to do in Salt Lake, right? But going into this, I'm like, all right, maybe. Okay. See, you were specific there. He's Flair. I'm thinking when I hear Flair, I just think Ric Flair. If you would have said Charlotte Flair, cool, right? Charlotte Flair. Oh, I don't think if that was the case, right, then Ludwig would have ended up with Charlotte Flair. But instead, he went the Move Caliente route, right? Unless Charlotte probably told him, hey, go to Mexico. You'll find your love there. Like, literally, bro, Ludwig Kaiser right now, he's living the passport bro life right now. Good for him, bro. Fucking passport bro, motherfucker. But CM Punk, Jey Uso, yeah, Jey Uso looked off in this match. You can tell there's a moment where Punk was pissed. Punk was a little PO there for the most part. When that whole thing happened. But when it was all said and done, look, I was expecting Braun Breaker to get involved, right? Bronson Reed, there's no champion, right? Now what the fuck do we do? That didn't happen. CM Punk is once again the world heavyweight champion. I know on commentary they didn't acknowledge the other runs that he had, like he's also they didn't acknowledge his runs in AEW, which I'm not surprised, but I will. Like he's now he's been a multi-time champion in the last couple of years, right? So there's that. But CM Punk is the world champion. He seems happy. But yeah, the match sucked. The match just sucked. And look, if you're WWE with Jey Uso, I'm good, bro. I don't need to see him near the world title. He better not sniff the world title, better not get involved in the main event. If you want him to just have these matches, eat the crowd and whatever, fine. But this idea of him being world champion, I'm good, bro. I'm good. But overall, Saturday night's main event, for me at least, for cage match, not so much. I thought the show just, went smoothly, right? Couple of little tweaks that I might have not been a fan of, but whatever. It is what it is. But what I did find also kind of funny is the picture that was posted on, I think it was Punk's IG story after Saturday night's main event. So I'm sure you all seen the picture, right? That you're seeing right there. This photo was posted, right? You see Jade Cargill with her new title, right, that she just won from Tiffany Stratton. You see Cody Rhodes with the title that he just remained, right? He kept, right? He's still he's still the undisputed WWE champion after defeating Drew McIntyre in a match where if he got disqualified or counted out, he would have lost the title. And then here's CM Punk just defeating only moments after this photo was moment before the photo was taken, he defeated Jey Uso. And who's there too? Ricky Saints, the NXT champion. They all took a photo together, right? All elite champions here, y'all. All elite champions. Right? So you could say that right now, WWE's world champions right now are an elite group, if you will. An elite group. Very, very elite like, if you will. But good on them. Good on them. I enjoyed SNME, Saturday Night's Main Event. It was a fun mini PLE. It kind of was. It really, really was. But overall, I thought the show was a fun one for the most part. Okay. Also, before I continue any further, I'm sure you guys already know, something about Dynamite is back to being a review show on Thursdays. However, if you're a channel member, you can still watch Dynamite with me. Hell, you could even watch Monday Night Raw with me. I think what's going to be fair, if you are a channel member, you get to watch wrestling with me and the gang, right? As a family. Okay. So if you are wondering, hey, we can still watch wrestling. Okay. So if you're a channel member, I will post the link to watch Monday Night Raw once I'm done with this, so we can all watch Raw like a family. Okay. If you want to become a channel member, it's only $2.99 a month. Hit that join button that you see next to the subscribe button. Hit that join button. It's only $2.99 a month, right? And one of the perks is that, hey, your comments will be read here on the air, and also you get to watch wrestling with me and whoever's on. It can be sometimes it'll be myself, Walter, Chase, Big Mike, Romeo. Well, Big Mike when he come back from his sabbatical, Romeo, right? Who knows? But that is the plan, right? So don't act like we're not going, but we will, all right? But just every Thursday, SAD is once again a review show. Now let's get back to the program. So also on the show, they announced the John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament. So they showed a clip of Cena and they announced that they're doing the Last Time Is Now tournament. I think it's a 16-man tournament, if I'm not mistaken. And the winner of the tournament will face John Cena on December 13th at Saturday Night's Main Event as his last opponent before John Cena calls it a career. I think the fact that you're doing a tournament to see who faces him is interesting, because what this does, it motivates the roster, because it's not only going to be people from Monday Night Raw, people from SmackDown, it'll also feature people from NXT, and also, this is per Cena, people who don't even work there. So you're thinking maybe some TNA names, such as a Matt Cardona, a Nick Nemeth, right? Nick Nemeth, the former Dolph Ziggler, a Jeff Hardy, right? Could they send, let's say, a Joe Henry, who's been wanting to work with Cena, right, as one of his dreams? Or maybe a Mike Santana, who is the TNA World Champion, right? Leon Slater, a Moose, an Eddie Edwards, or main event Frankie Kazarian, Steve Macklin. The list goes on, right? But let's be realistic. Likely is going to be probably Matt Cardona, right? A Nick Nemeth, and maybe Joe Henry and a Jeff Hardy as the wild card. But also people from NXT. You have Obafemi, you have Ricky Saint, you have my goodness, I'm having a freaking right. Oh my, Trick Williams, right? I mean, I literally had a brain fart. I have no idea why. Ricky Saints, like I just mentioned, right? You can do, I don't know, Alexis King. Just throwing a name out there, right? Just throwing some names out of people you could do. Javon Evans, right? And then look, there's people out there. No, Chief just pointed this out. I hope everyone doesn't think Edge is coming back. He's under contract, not happening. Yeah, there's some people who thought, oh, Cope can be involved in this because I think his contract was supposed to run up soon, but I think because of his time off, they added more time. Be that as it may, that's not happening. That is not going to happen. But I do enjoy the fact that they're doing a tournament to see who faces Cena. If I'm to pick a winner, I think probably Gunther. I think Gunther is the guy, right? He retired Goldberg. Why not retire Cena, right? In a perfect world, Tanahashi versus Cena, one night only. Never say never, Chief. Never say never. It's possible. It is very possible that it could happen. Very, very possible, right? Just one day you got a dream. It could happen, right? But I think it's cool, though. You're doing a tournament to see who faces John Cena. Um, and again, it gives the roster some inspiration, some motivation, a kick in the ass, right? To step up and go crazy with these matches. And we'll see who faces Cena. I think it'll be Gunther, though, when it's all said and done. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Speaking of Saturday night's main event, I know I got to mention this too, but I get this came out of the Wrestling Observer, right? They're saying that being that Cena's final match will be on Saturday night's main event on December 13th, live from Washington, D.C. There's been a lot of speculation that, hey, because in Washington, a certain someone will be in attendance at this event, along with someone who many consider have built the house that John Cena wrestles in. The ring that, you get the idea, being none other than Vince McMahon and the current president of the United States of America, Donald Trump. So people are under this idea that, oh, they're going to be there. This is from the Wrestling Observer, by the way. I want to think this is Dave or Brian, but either or. This is what they said, in quote, I've had people speculate that both Donald Trump and Vince McMahon are going to be at John Cena's final match. Oh, you can tell this was Dave, because here comes Vince can be there. He can buy a ticket. There is a way to get him there, whether they show him on TV or make a big deal out of it. It would be something different. But I've certainly had people in WWE who firmly believe that Vince and Donald Trump are both going to be at Cena's last match. Look, Vince being there, sure, he could be there. Why not? Buy a ticket, be there, right? This idea that, oh, he built the house, right? He built the house, right? Because I've heard people say this online. Oh, he built the house. He has the right to be there. Look, I can build a house, just hypothetically speaking, right? Imagine if you built a house, right? It's a big house, and you go away, right? You go away, right? And during the time that you're away, people are living in that house. A new family bought the house, whatever the fuck it may be, right? And they renovated the house, added some stuff to it that you probably never thought of, whatever, right? And then time goes on, and then you decide to go back. So you knock on the door. You can knock on the door, but it's up to the people that live there to decide they want to let you back in or not. That's the thing, right? So Dom versus Cena with Trump watching would low-key be the greatest business politics aside. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Not Dom, that is. But it's cool they can go put them in a press box and don't put them on camera. Talk about a PR nightmare. Here's the thing, right? Vince, again, it's a PR nightmare because, again, Vince McMahon is involved in this lawsuit, right? But he can be there, yeah. But the whole thing with President Donald Trump, look, I am not one of those content creators who who has a lot of emphasis on politics. There's some wrestling content creators, some of them you know who they are, who really express their political views by not even saying a damn thing. That's not what I do. I will say this though, like, look, if the president shows up, buddy, the outrage you will see on the IWC, the outrage of people losing their fucking minds, bro. The idea that the president of the United States of America show up, bro. I'm telling you now, this will be the IWC if it happens.
Fuck!
Twitter will lose it. Okay. But be that as it may, I'll just say this, okay? Take away for a moment, put your political views aside, right? Whether you love Trump, you hate Trump, right? Whether you swing left, swing right, put that to a side for a moment. You have the president showing up to see you, buddy. You bet your ass I am putting on the performance of my life. Look, it don't matter if it was President Joe Biden, had it been Kamala Harris, had Barack Obama still be president, had it been John McCain, had it been Mitt Romney, had it been John Kerry, it don't fucking matter. The president shows up, I'm putting on a performance of my life. Okay, at the end of the day, that's the president. End of the day. Plain and simple. Like imagine if I own a restaurant, right? And the president shows up. Granted, I'm not going to turn him away. You know what I mean? I'm not doing that, whether I voted left or right. It don't matter. It's the president. I'm going to give that president the service of a lifetime. That's simple. If Trump goes, I'm getting my popcorn ready to watch the meltdown go down. Me too. And I'm for it. Steve, who do you want to see face Cena and who do you think will? I'll be honest, dude. For me, I know this idea of putting over a young talent, right? A young talent will be the way to go out, whatever. I would have loved for it to have been someone from his past. Like, I know we had the Randy Orton match at Backlash because it was in St. Louis. But I would have loved to have seen Randy Orton, John Cena one more time. One more time. In a perfect world, had Adam Copeland not been Adam Copeland and he'd still be Edge, for sure, he could have also been one of those one last time. 100%. But I think it'll be Gunther. If I had to pick one, though, I would say for sure, 100%, I would say Randy Orton for sure. But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, bro, the president's showing up. The president. And look, there's a lot of content creators out here on the wrestling space, right, who don't like the president. All right, if you don't like the president, if you don't like the idea that and you gotta know who they are. I will say this. If you dislike the president being there, the president of the country that you're living in, by the way, right? If you do not like the fact that he's going to be at this wrestling show, then don't watch it. Don't watch it. Matter of fact, don't even cover it. Don't do a preview of the event. Don't even recap it. Sacrifice those super chats. Sacrifice those super chats if that's how you really feel. Because if that's not how you feel, because the reality is you're going to watch the show. You will watch the show. You will recap the show. You will preview the show like a good soldier in this internet wrestling space. Tell me when I'm telling lies. I wish Dave Batista wasn't retired. Imagine him and Cena in Washington, D.C., Batista's hometown, with the president watching. I would have been on the edge of my seat, but the reality is Batista is no longer Batista. He's just, don't get me wrong, like for wrestling fans, he's still Batista, but it's just the visual is just not what it used to be, if you will. But brother, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Sign me the fuck up. Sign me the fuck up. But also, they announced this is on the AEW side. Okay, I did watch part of Collision. I did catch the Bandito and Mascara Dorada match for the Ring of Honor World Title. Man, what a match! What a fucking match, yo! For real, for real. Bandito is that guy. But Bandito, I will say this right now, is right now the luchador of 2025. If you do not think Bandito is the best luchador in 2025, you are a fool. You are a fucking fool. That dude has been killing it. Completely killing it, right? Be that as it may, they did announce the teams that will be participating in Blood and Guts, the men and the women's Blood and Guts, by the way. So, dude, it's Cena's last match. Screw Trump. I'm here for John F. and Cena. Exactly. But if the president shows up, buddy, I'm putting on a performance of my life. Okay. I feel like that's the least you can do, right? But also factor in it's John Cena, right? He was the face of the company for so many years, arguably the biggest name to have come out of that company in God knows how long. So there you go. But anyway, AEW, that is, they did announce the participants in both the men and women's Blood and Gut matches. So this is for the women. I think back then, the last couple of Blood and Gut matches, it was 5-on-5. This year, it's 6-on-6. So in one team, you have Mercedes Moné, who is the TBS champion, and in her team, you have Megan Bayne, you have Marina Shafir, and then you have the Triangle of Madness, that being Tekla, Sky Blue, and Julia Hart. Now, on the other side, you have the AEW Women's World Champion, Chris Statlander, and her team. It is Timeless Toni Storm, Willow Nightingale. You have Harley Cameron, and you also have Jamie Hayter and also Queen Aminata. That is the women's team. But that is the women's Blood and Gut match. I think it's crazy that Mercedes Moné in that week is not only wrestling in, I think she had the Blood and Guts match, and then she's wrestling for House of Glory. And I think then she's flying to Europe to defend one of her Mickey Mouse titles. I think this somewhere in Italy. That's crazy. It's fucking insane, right? It's fun. I mean, I know there's a lot of like tension, I would believe, with the women's as far as, Timeless Toni Storm. Can she get along or accept the fact that someone's holding on to the title that she once held? Is Chris Statlander and Will Nightingale, or can they still coexist, right? That's a lot of stuff you want to look into in this, right? But I think I don't want to give predictions right now, but let's get to the men's. This is the men's Blood and Guts. You have the Death Riders, of John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, Wheeler Useless, aka Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia against the team of Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly of the Conglomeration, and Roderick Strong. Look, this has to be it, like for the Death Riders, right? This would have to be it. But that being said, it's going to be on Wednesday, November the 12th. So my question, it's you're just doing those two matches, right? Like I don't need this to be those 3 hours and change show and you are putting in 7 other matches. Nah, this can't be that. Cannot be that. Okay. This needs to be just the 2 cage matches, maybe 1 segment, right? And then the other blood and guts match. That's what it needs to be. Also, one more thing. I talked about this on Saturday. I did like the Konosuke and Okada segment. I thought that was pretty badass too. Speaking of also Takeshita, it was announced that he will be defending the IWGP World Championship against the IWGP Global Champion Yota Tsuji, title for title at Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th. So that's happening. That's going to go down. I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, what about Okada?" That's going to happen in an AEW ring. That's not happening in the New Japan ring. Right? And also, if you're New Japan, why would you want 2 guys who are not under contract full-time to you main eventing your biggest show of the year in the Tokyo Dome? Why? I do think, I remember I said this years ago on the True Heel Heat watch along for Wrestle Kingdom. I said that, this might be Okada's last Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, like 1 more in him, and everyone, oh, you're wrong for that. And I kind of was right, but I think he might wrestle at this Wrestle Kingdom because it is Tanahashi's retirement match. And what better way to go out than wrestling Okada, your biggest rival, right? The rivalry that put New Japan back on the map, right? What a way. We'll see how that goes. But as far as the men and the women's teams, look, they're fine. I don't think you need 2 blood and guts matches. That's just one man's opinion, of course. But hey, it is what it is. Well, call me a fool. I think El Grande Americano, but Bandito's great. Fine, but I think if you look at just the body of work as far as the matches go, Bandito has been killing it, right? Matter of fact, you know what I would love for Bandito? If they do for him what they're doing for Takeshita and CMLL. Let him be the world champion. Why not? I think that'll be great, in my opinion. What the hell? Why Mercedes in that match makes no sense. She has 12 belts. What is she proving here? She's proving that she's willing to get in there and get dirty, bleed, and all that other stuff. I just think it's crazy too for the women because they're also, some of these women are also in the women's tag team title tournament. So you're putting a big risk on, let's say, God forbid, right? One of these women get hurt. They can fuck up the tournament. That's just me. But be that as it may, it's happening. Yay. Whoop-de-doo. But that's gonna be it for me. Unless you guys have any questions, maybe something you want me to cover real quick before we put a bow on this, right? But just to let you guys know, look, there's no more AEW Dynamite watch along as a content on the channel. But if you are a channel member, you get to still watch wrestling with me. I will post a link in a bit so we can watch Raw as a family. Also, again, if you're a channel member, you have to be a channel member to watch Raw with me and the gang or whoever is going to be here with me. All right. Make sure you become a channel member. It's only $2.99 a month. Okay. $2 $99 a month. Okay. You get to become an ATP channel member. All right. Hit the join button. If you don't see it, there's a link down below in the description box on the YouTube stream that can direct you to it, and you are able to become a channel member and watch Raw, AEW, Dynamite, hell, even NXT. I'll even throw NXT in there. Why not? And from time to time, when there's a PLE and we're not doing a watch along on True Hill Heat, I'll even throw the link there too. All right. But that's going to be it for me, guys. Much love to all of you. Thank you all for tuning in. We're winding it down here, man. The year's about to end, right? Where did 2025? Where did 2025 go? And then in a couple of weeks or so, I'll be out of here. I'll be in my new place. We start if you go in my living room, you see all these boxes and containers and shit. I'm about to start packing stuff in this room real soon. I went back to the new house the other day just to see, because I do want to make a nice little setup for this. So I'm trying to see where I want this thing to be set up, and I'm gonna have it nice and decked out when I do make the move. All right. So there's that. Thank you all for tuning in, watching this. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Give this video a big old thumbs up. Share it through social media. All right. Follow me on X at Heel Steven. Follow the Around the Point Network over on X at AT Point Network. I'll be back live tomorrow for the Raw Rundown, where I'll talk about all the stuff that's happening on Monday Night Raw. All right. That's going to be it for me, guys. Much love to all of you. You guys are awesome as always. But that's going to be it for me. I got to get the fuck up out of here. I got to eat before Raw starts too. So there you go. For myself, for the gang, this has been Steve's Kitchen here on the Around the Point Network. Peace out, y'all.
Listen. Fuck up. Get out.